Hi, how is everyone today? Welcome back to Spiritual Journey. And we are going to talk about this full moon total lunar eclipse that is going to happen on May 15th. In some locations, it's going to be on the 16th. So it happens in Mountain Standard Time, Central Standard Time at 10:14 p.m. On the Pacific Coast, it's going to be 19:14 p.m. And if you head over to the Eastern Seaboard, it's going to be at 12:14 p.m. on May the 16th. So eclipses are often a time of shifts and changes. They produce a lot of sometimes inconsistencies as they are manifesting. As one thing begins to leave and another thing begins to take its place. So this can happen with all kinds of things, our jobs, relationships. It can happen with us that all of a sudden, if one of the luminaries or the lights is covered up, that can trigger health crisis, sometimes crisis personally, period. And so all eclipses are kind of wild cards in their events and how they transpire. I often liken an eclipse to that the lights have gone out and that we have to scramble, stop what we're doing, scramble, go get something like a candle or something to ease the situation. And then when the lights do come back on, we kind of forget what we were doing before. So sometimes it can manifest in one's life like that we are in a position of prominence. And then all of a sudden we are cast over for somebody else. However, that's a lot of times a solar eclipse, especially, will redirect our goals and our directions. But in this case, this is a lunar eclipse, which is often connected to family, properties, loved ones to some extent. And so it can really begin to manifest in those domestic situations where we're living, how we're living. Are all our needs being met? Do we feel comfortable? And because this is lunar and the moon is associated with women, women's rights, women's issues, family shifts, the birth in the family, motherhood, the feminine is quite often the dominating theme here. So lunar eclipses are quite often really emotional. And so we could find that we're a little more emotional heading into this eclipse and heading out of this eclipse. And it really depends. Like for me, we can say the eclipse happens at this time, but it goes on for actually quite a while, depending on the length of the eclipse. And what triggers it is the planets that cross over that point. That point now becomes very sensitive and sensitive energy. So if you are born at around this time, or if you have any planets that are associated with 25 degrees of Taurus or 25 degrees of Scorpio, you will be influenced with this eclipse. Now, this eclipse is going to last 19 minutes. It's going to cross parts or be visual in parts of Asia, Australia, parts of North America, the northern eastern part of Europe, and most of South America. So this is a big shift that is taking place in those areas as the shadow is crossed during those areas. Also, with an eclipse, what happens in a full moon total lunar eclipse is that the earth moves in between the sun and the moon. And so this can kind of make the moon, due to the shadows that occur, this can make the moon like a blood red color or red color. Sometimes it doesn't happen until the day after, I found. All full moons are points of culmination or peak energies. So we have this really intense eclipse happening in the sign of Scorpio. That on itself, just itself, makes it more charged, because Scorpio is a very charged sign. The moon doesn't like Scorpio because Scorpio makes us feel more intense, more passionate. We strive for control when you have your moon, especially emotional control. I want to feel what I want to feel. I just don't see that perspective. You're making things into mountains that aren't. And so there can be a lot of jealousy with the moon in Scorpio because she is detriment here in her fall. And she's just doesn't function well. She can throw things out of balance really easily. And she can be perceived as kind of a drama queen here, and really overly passionate about things that she shouldn't be passionate about. So on top of that Scorpio energy with the moon, then we have the south node. This is a south node total eclipse. And so south nodes are closing doors. They quite often close doors. They release old energy in order to disperse it. So because this is in Scorpio, this is like a purging energy that we need to throw out the trash. It stinks. It kind of brings out the underneath. Okay, that's what you've always felt about me. Okay, I get it now. And it kind of reveals the true nature of the beast, I guess you could make a realization, because Scorpio can be a beast. So we come to quite a few realizations because of what is being dredged up, what is being remembered, because the moon is our memory. So if you've had this energy that you've always been like really PO'd about somebody who did this like 10 years ago, that could be triggered, and then you just go, I'm done. Like, I'm finally done with this. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. So this is a releasing energy that just says the karma has come around. It's a karmic wheel that is being triggered. And we have these memories, and then we go, wow, like, that's it. I'm finished. So Scorpio does not like betrayal. So emotionally, the wall could come down. You've betrayed me. You've said too much stuff. And so this is it. I'm not going to work through these feelings anymore. I'm just closing the door, and we're going to be finished. And that's how I really see the Scorpio full moon, is a real cutting off, and the door is closed. And chances are you're not going to get the door open again. So make sure that you're thinking consciously about which doors you're opening and closing, and what energy is really manifesting. And so this is real soul connections that are going on here. We could really feel like we're stuck. We have low vibration, that we're really drained of a lot of energy during this eclipse. And we're kind of melancholy. And perhaps we're trying to, the good thing about this eclipse is we can actually close the door on some habitual patterns, emotional habitual patterns that we've fallen into, and we haven't realized what has caused those, but now we could really come to some enlightenment that, yeah, I've been doing these cycles and this is the impact it's had on my life, especially in relationships, because the sun is in Taurus. So, I can really see you now for who you are. And this is how I really feel about the situation. So, and that's really important here because we have a south node, we have Scorpio attached here. So there could be a little bit of revengeful energy going around, like we're kind of cursing or wishing the worst for somebody. And we could really get stuck in this energy. And the reason why we could feel like we have no outlet or no resources available to us because the moon is square to Saturn. And this always makes a very serious situation. It can be kind of melancholy, and in the extremes, it can be depressive, very depressive energy that you're kind of feeling stuck. There is no outlet. There's too much responsibility going on here. And that I need to take some steps to address the seriousness of how I'm feeling or what I'm doing. So in this respect, this lunar eclipse can be very positive energy, that finally I see it for what it is, and now I need to go and get the assistance I need. So some old habits could really need some serious attention here, or they get serious attention. And so they should. Maybe if you've been doing some possessiveness, obsessiveness, kind of that stocky kind of energy, then you need to close the door on this and give it its final farewell, not just for the other person, but for your own well-being. So there's a reliance, there's lines, there is something that has to be drawn in the sand. These are my limits, and this is how far I'm going to go. So there is this fizzling out energy. Uh, People who could have seemed like family are not really working in your best interest anymore. They're too much work. They're too much hardship. It's like I got to cut back on that because it's just too emotionally draining for me to be on this treadmill. So the Saturn is also has been square to the nodal axis. And so Saturn has really struggled with some of that square energy in terms of power and controlling, especially now with this Taurus Scorpio energy. And he has really struggled. Are we going to go back to the old traditional ways with the South Node? Or are we going to step into the future? Because Saturn is in Aquarius now. So Aquarius says, start something new. Be pioneering, be, freedom, like really go for that sense of individuality and autonomy. And yet we are stuck in the middle. Should we fall back into old patterns, or should we express ourselves in a new way? And so we could really, struggle with some of those energies of letting go. And the collective, the people at the top, what are the communities going to do and which direction are they going to go? And we're actually going to see some people step up that come from the past, the old traditional ways. So you can really, you just have to look to the Philippines right now, who are actually in the midst of an election, and they think that an old leader's son, a dictator, is going to rise to power again. And that's that old. And Saturn is the dictator. So we can really see that in some countries, the power, the control, and these purging elements that are there and toxic energy. So the moon is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto all by itself is pretty powerful. And it really dredges up and brings to the surface things that are buried underneath, backroom deals, things going on, strategic planning, and corruption, and a sense of purging, toxic pollution, a lot of stuff it's bringing out to the surface and bringing to light. So we can really struggle with some of this energy with Pluto. The good news is Pluto is going to sextile this moon, and that's going to bring an opportunity. So even though things are coming to the surface, we're seeing things for what they are, we have a sense of perseverance here, a determination that brings about an opportunity that we can seize to advance ourselves, to maybe climb up the ladder because of our strategic planning and our future perspective on things. Hey, if you want to do it this way, maybe we should try it this way. Those people are really going to stand out, and that's going to really sweep across to us in a very powerful way. And Pluto is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is really important in where are your lines, limitations, and how well you have the determination and perseverance to rebound if a door closes. So this gives us the opportunity that even if a door closes, there is something else that's going to open, and we're going to have the perseverance to pursue it. Pluto is also trine to the sun, which is now in Taurus. So those really earth-bound things are really important. Am I safe? Am I secure? Where do I belong? What do I value? What is worthy and worth my effort? And Mercury is sitting right beside the sun and is moving retrograde right now. So the sun is in Taurus at 25 degrees. Mercury is in Gemini right now, and it's going to station retrograde tomorrow at 4 degrees of Gemini. So for the last little while, we've had a lot of gossip and gossipy energy happening. And so we really need to be consciously aware of what we're expressing to other people in that gossip energy. So we can go into the future with lightheartedness. And so that is really important with this full moon. And then you get Mercury is going to switch around, like head into back into Taurus at the end of the month. And then he's going to come out of retrograde on June, the beginning of June 7th, I believe it is. So this moon is kind of setting the steps and the energy. What I don't like about the sun energy here is that it's sitting right on Algol, or it's only 1 degree away. So that activates that star of Algol, which can be really violent. It can hold some criminal energy. It rules decapitation. It is Medusa's head. So we can be frozen in place. and stopped in our tracks, and it can bring about some mob mentality. So we really need to be cautiously aware. We're in Taurus and Scorpio, so those two signs hold the financial markets and financial securities. So there could be some uprising. Because of that as well, we have women's issues and women's rights coming to the forefront, especially now with the courts in the United States determining Roe versus Wade. And that could be moving us backwards, just like Saturn is triggering into that south node. And sexual health issues because it's Scorpio and the south node. So that could really mean that women are losing some rights over their own sexuality and over their own dominion over those health issues that are related to their sexuality or sex, which is conception. And hopefully not, but in this eclipse energy, that really could be a reality. And we're moving backwards in that respect. So Saturn is playing a crucial role here in its dominion about which direction we're going and what doors are closing for us and what doors are essentially opening. We have a determination to persevere and continue on what we've decided that we want for our futures. So that is, of course, extremely happy. There could be debates going on here with this lunar eclipse simply because Mercury is ready to station retrograde. And Mercury will be retrograde at this lunation. So that's vitally important. The next thing is Jupiter. Jupiter is stepping in to Aries and has stepped in by the time this full moon comes. He is moving into Aries on the 11th of May or the 10th of May, depending. And 00 degrees always is a cardinal energy. It's a cardinal push out that something new is being birthed, especially with the sign of Aries, that we will and are in the process of launching forward some sort of action. And are we taking responsibility in our endeavors? So Aries is a very aggressive, courageous, initiative energy that wants to start something and begin something. So this is where we can have real dynamic energy manifesting for us on many levels. And this is individuality. What do I want? Where do I want to go? Who am I? And what do I want to launch forward in the dynamics of my life? So this could really be the launching of a new path forward, closing that door and really moving forward into a new direction. Jupiter is about the truth. What is the truth for me? What does that look like? Who am I? What do I want to be? How do I want to master my own ship? And what do I want to create in the future? This is an individualistic energy that says, seize your power. You can do anything. And because Jupiter really plugs in to some of the energies that are going on here, that leave that behind and just go forward. And so it's a real game changer, I guess you could say. It's a real shifting of energy here that really pushes us onto a new platform. Jupiter is going to move back into the sign of Pisces in October, but for now we're in Aries energy. So you could find that some people are way too aggressive. They're just really over the top. They could seem like they are a little bit focused only on themselves. And so that could be or feel like you're selfish, or that people are being selfish. So this is a real soul energy, a soulful energy. Scorpio is that jazzy, bluesy kinds of energy that goes down really deep, and where you really gotta search for what you're feeling and how you're feeling it. It's a real jivey energy. Scorpio also, of course, holds the witch and the witch energy. And so you could do anything in Scorpio, honestly, once you realize that you have power, that you're not dominated over, and that you just need to manifest, create your destiny, and stop giving your power over to other people. So with Jupiter in that warrior energy that says, seize it, take it, expand it, tell people, just bring out everything that you are, everything that you can be. So this is real, a lot of personal courage to say, I'm going to fight this. I have the courage and the perseverance and the power and the control to do that. So we could really see people stepping out on the stage in groups, in individual people, and saying, I'm not going to stand for it. So when you get the moon at cross purposes to Saturn, who is, these are the lines, these are the rules, this is what has to happen in humanity, because Saturn's in Aquarius. And now we have the moon, which is women, saying, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. And then we have Saturn squaring the sun. So this is a real, either the rules got to change, something's got to give here, or we're going to find ourselves in a really unstable, stabilizing energy. So personal growth is super, super important with this total lunar eclipse. We become extremely passionate, doubly so because it's in Scorpio. It's a total lunar eclipse and it's a full moon. So if people are being very expressive, very out there, we have to take that into account. So you try and be a little bit more patient. Uranus is here at 15 degrees of Taurus. Uranus is at now, and that's kind of that unpredictable energy. And Jupiter is semi-square to Uranus. So that's like, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I need to do to get me where I need to go. And perhaps I'm spending too much money. Perhaps that could be a jeopardy to my relationship, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so hopefully you're with me. Strength, resistance, create your own life kind of energy with this lunar eclipse. As we close the door on some of those old passionate things that we were hung up on before, and one of them could be fear because of that square. So I hope that all made sense to you, and I will see you next time on Spiritual Journey and the astrology, the astrological journey that we're all on together. Have a great day. Bye.